Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky addresses Congress. I'm Mather Rivera in Washington with reaction from President Biden and lawmakers coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A round of applause from a grateful community for an injured police officer released from the hospital. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Abby. Healthcare workers and others lined the hallway at Freeman Hospital today as the wheelchair-carrying Officer Hershey made his way to the exit. Hershey was shot in the face 8 days ago as he confronted the suspect who had fatally shot JPD Corporal Ben Cooper, also Officer Jake Reed. In a news release today, the police department expressed thanks to all in the Freeman healthcare system involved in Hershey's care. JPD says Officer Hershey still has a long recovery period ahead and asked the people to keep him in their thoughts and prayers. As Hershey reached the exit of the hospital, as we're about to see, he rose from the wheelchair, then walked out. Unbelievable. Over the past week, a number of first responders have stepped up to help Joplin, and yesterday was no exception. KOA's Chris Warner has more on how the first responder family came together for Joplin.
How do you help someone who's hurting? Someone who's mourning a loss? You support them any way you can. And that's exactly what area first responders are doing for their Joplin family.
We've had all of our deputies asking, what can we do to help? And we all just stepped up as the surrounding agencies stepped up to help our family out in need.
Chief Deputy Derek Walrod with the Jasper County Sheriff's Office says they're honored to help fill the needed positions within the city of Joplin.
We want the citizens of Joplin to know that they're safe, that we're going to continue helping out the law enforcement side and fire and EMS. All emergency services are going to still be there, just different colored uniforms.
The Jasper and Newton County Sheriff's Offices, as well as the Missouri State Highway Patrol and Jasper County dispatchers, stepped up on the law enforcement side of things. Reddings Mill was one of 5 fire departments staffing each of Joplin's 5 fire stations on Tuesday.
It's a brotherhood. Even though we have different departments on our shirts, we're all still one big family, and we all know that we're going to be there to help each other out whenever we need it.
Lieutenant Devin Mashker with Reddings Mill says just like the other agencies, nobody had to be asked to help out. They volunteered.
Yeah, everyone here has a big heart, and we're always willing to help. I mean, that's in our job description. So even if it's helping the citizens or helping out a different department, it's always easy to get personnel to help out.
Walrod says the support they've received from the Joplin community has been incredible.
Go somewhere for lunch, people offering to buy you lunch, or you go to fill up gas and somebody buys you a cup of coffee and they stop and shake your hand and thank you for everything you're doing. We're doing the same job we normally do, just they're not used to seeing us in the city limits. But it was amazing support from the community around Joplin. It was very inspiring.
I'm Chris Warner for KOAM News.
We've mentioned some of the agencies that stepped in. Here are the others. Reddings Mill manned at Station 4, while Orinoco, Coral Junction, Webb City, and Dunwig manned the other fire stations. On the EMS side, Mercy, Cox, Barton County, and Newton County all provided ambulance coverage for Mets on Tuesday. Switching now to our first look at the forecast. Another warm day today, Doug.
Yeah, temperatures got up there once again for us today as we did go into the 70s for highs. Official high 75 started at 45. 60 is where we should be topping out for this time of the year. Pretty much clear skies. We are going to get some clouds in here as we go through the overnight hours. So eventually partly cloudy skies with our next storm system, which is building out to the west. But until it makes it here, we look pretty good. We're still into the mid 60s. We'll only drop back near 50 later on tonight. Southerly winds kind of keeping our temps up just a bit. So we'll drop back to 51, but 77 tomorrow. Thunderstorms tomorrow evening. We'll look at that here in a bit.
As always, Joplin police are investigating a homicide after a man was found with gunshot wounds. The shooting happened early this morning before 2:30. Authorities say they were called to a home for a report of gunshots near 24th and Wall Avenue. When officers arrived, they found 20-year-old William Patton of Joplin with gunshot wounds. Patton was taken to the hospital where he was later pronounced dead. Prosecutors in Montgomery County, Kansas are requesting an involuntary manslaughter charge for the fatal shooting of a minor. Coffeyville police last night arrested 19-year-old Trayvon Hayes Smith. They say he was involved in a shooting Sunday night that killed a minor. Shooting happened on North Walnut Street. The victim, from Chanute, was found with gunshot wounds and was taken to a hospital where they later died. Coffeyville police say more arrests and charges are expected. Well, the Federal Reserve announces its first interest rate hike in several years. The decision comes as inflation stands at a near 40-year high. Fox Business correspondent Madison Allworth has more.
The Federal Reserve hiking interest rates today for the first time since 2018 in an effort to combat soaring inflation. The key short-term rate rose a 0.25 percentage point, and officials have hinted at larger or more frequent rate hikes in the coming months.
The committee is determined to take the measures necessary to restore price stability. The American economy is very strong and well positioned to handle tighter monetary policy.
But the Fed faces a difficult task as officials try to curb spending without sending the economy into recession.
You don't want people to have to decide between gas and food, for example. The consumer only has a certain amount of money to spend every month.
Annual inflation hit 7.9% in February. And with consumer demand surging, price increases have been more long-lasting. Inflation is likely to rise even further in the coming months as Russia's invasion of Ukraine triggers higher costs for things like gasoline.
Prices and wages are coming up, but inflation is killing us, Mike. That's not a good place to be. So we better get our financial house in order.
We have seen prices stop surging at the pump after oil prices dropped below $100 a barrel. According to AAA, the national average has dipped down to $4.31, but some drivers fear prices won't stay that way for long.
The gas price, the groceries, everything's going up, so it's hard to survive right now.
Energy experts warn that more conflict in Eastern Europe and higher demand for crude oil could drive prices back up. In New York, I'm Madison Allworth, Fox Business.
The reaction to Ukrainian President Zelensky's address to Congress, Zelensky making an urgent plea to President Biden and lawmakers to, quote, do more to help his country as they continue to face his onslaught of attacks from Russia. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera has more details now from D.C.
In his remarks, President Vladimir Zelensky did not mince words, accusing Russia of turning the Ukrainian sky into a source of death for thousands of people.
This is a terror that Europe has not seen for 80 years.
Speaking virtually from an undisclosed location in Kyiv, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky updating U.S. lawmakers on the Russian invasion. He's calling for the U.S. to implement a no-fly zone, provide more aircraft and air defense systems, and issue additional sanctions on Russia. He also delivered a direct message to President Biden.
I wish you to be the leader of the world. Being the leader of the world means to be the leader of peace.
President Biden called Zelensky's speech convincing. His administration is sending an additional $800 million in security aid to Ukraine.
We're going to give Ukraine the arms to fight and defend themselves through all the difficult days ahead.
Lawmakers from both parties praised Zelensky's message and agreed more military assistance should be delivered.
He spoke not just to American ears, but to America's very soul.
Many, however, oppose implementing a no-fly zone, fearing the move would be an escalatory risk.
You put a NATO aircraft against a Russian, someone's going to shoot the other one down, and it's automatic World War III.
Russia and Ukraine continue to hold peace talks amid the fighting, and President Biden is planning to travel to Belgium for a NATO summit next week to discuss the latest response efforts. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another four-state hero. Walt Jones served in the U.S. Army from 1941 to 1945. A native of Pinscher, Oklahoma, Jones was awarded a Purple Heart among several other awards. And we are proud to thank and salute Private First Class Walt Jones. He's tonight's four-state hero. Nick Kelly's next. You know, I have my days where I just get you guys confused.
Yeah, we look at it.
You guys look alike. Yeah, right, yeah. Doug Heddy's next with a complete look at the forecast. And later, Missouri Southern football hitting the field for their first week of spring practice. Gonna hear from the Lions in sports.
Well, it definitely turned out to be another nice day for us today. Pretty good stretch over the past several days of weather that our temperatures have been pretty good. We've been either into the 60s or 70s over the past 4 days. You can hardly remember Just 5 days ago, we had 2 inches of snow, which is kind of crazy. It melted so fast. But last week, pretty chilly. This week, not too bad. Let's go ahead and zoom in. Look at our highs earlier today. Most of us, mid-70s during the afternoon, which is pretty good. We dropped back into the low to mid-60s, and that's currently where we sit. We'll bottom out near 50 later on tonight. Southerly winds kind of keeping our temps up just a little bit. South winds at about 10 to 15. Those are actually going to increase or crank up a little bit as we go into the next 24 to 48 hours. Outside, 7th, range line, 64. Southerly winds, 5 to 10. Humidity at 43%. Pretty much clear skies for now. We do have some clouds starting to increase in our western counties, and this is the beginnings of our next storm system. We're going to stay dry tonight. We're going to stay dry tomorrow, but those clouds are going to start to work in. So that means partly cloudy tonight and partly cloudy or sunny skies for us tomorrow. Here's our next storm system building. It is moving out into western parts of Colorado, and it's actually going to track right on top of us as we go through about the next 24 to 48 hours. Look at our surface low. It develops and heads right toward us. You can see the line of thunderstorms tomorrow night, but because this is going to track over us, it's going to keep majority of severe weather to our south. We could get some stronger storms, but I'm not anticipating anything severe at this point in time. All right, partly cloudy skies tonight, partly sunny for us tomorrow. Temperatures lower 70s by noon. We soar into the upper 70s during the afternoon, 72 by noon. High 77, southerly winds at about 5 to 15. So it is going to be breezy gusts near 20, maybe upwards of 25. Tomorrow evening, thunderstorms start to pop up. A bigger batch late evening toward the midnight hour, so a very loud night because some of these storms could be strong. Into Friday morning, then we have periods of showers, really just rain most of the day on Friday. You can see some blue mixing in, so there could be a random flake or two that tries to mix in, and we're going to be quite a bit cooler. We're going to sit into the 40s most of the day during the daytime hours on Friday. We're going to rebound quickly as we head into the weekend. All right, rainfall also, I think most of us, half an inch upwards to an inch of rain with this next storm system, which is going to rotate through. All right, 77 tomorrow, St. Patty's Day. 49 and dropping, hanging right around 45 most of Friday. Back to 66 on Saturday, 72 on Sunday. So the weekend looks fantastic.
Yeah, you can kind of sense where the consistent warm and the consistent cold are fighting with each other.
They are, and that's what spring's all about.
Yeah.
That's why we get severe weather.
Yeah, you got it, man. All right, we'll see you in a little bit. Thanks, Doug.
Yep.
Coming up, more analysis on paying more for less.
I'm Jerry Willis at Stu Leonard's in Yonkers, New York, where customers are experiencing price hikes firsthand.
Shoppers continue to see those higher prices taking a bite out of their wallet, and they're seeing the sticker shock on regular items at the grocery store. Fox Business Network's Jerry Willis has more from a Stu Leonard's in Yonkers, New York.
As the Federal Reserve considered how best to fight inflation this week, the real battleground for America's families are right here at the grocery store. It's here in the aisles of American supermarkets that bacon is up nearly 19%, beef is higher by 16%, and citrus, well, oranges are up by 14%. Dig deeper and the numbers are even more startling. Wheat used in bread, cereal, crackers is up 47% year over year. Grocers are struggling, absorbing some of the hikes. Listen.
I've been doing this for 50 years, okay, our family business. What I notice, customers are like numb. They just expect prices to have trickled up a little bit.
Consumers are expecting more of the same, seeing a 9% hike in food prices year over year. That according to the New York Federal Reserve. In Yonkers, New York, Jerry Willis, Fox Business.
All right, still ahead, another shot.
It could soon be time to roll up your sleeves once again with Pfizer, floating the idea of a fourth dose of its COVID vaccine. I'm Matt Finn in Los Angeles. The details coming up.
Allergy sufferers, beware. A new study suggests allergy season is getting worse, and it's all because of climate change, according to scientists. Wind-driven pollen is closely tied to temperature and precipitation changes. So as spring seasons get warmer earlier, plants could pollinate much earlier and for a longer period of time. The study found that different tree pollen varieties that once varied in timing will eventually overlap with each other, and that is going to lead to overall higher concentrations of tree pollen that threaten public health. Options for protection from COVID-19 could soon be expanding, with at least one drug maker floating the idea of another vaccine dose. Fox News correspondent Matt Finn has more now from LA.
Pfizer is poised to expand use of its COVID-19 vaccine, the drug maker planning to ask for FDA and CDC approval to give a fourth shot to seniors over 65, though eventually it could be needed for all Americans as a new strain spreads quickly around the world. It's called BA2, a so-called stealth subvariant of Omicron, and it's causing big spikes in Europe and parts of Asia, especially China, where major cities are going back into total lockdown.
With more than 2 years of pandemic experience, I believe we can get out of this situation very quickly.
Here in the U.S., at least 25% of new infections are being caused by BA2, but only 25,000 new cases were reported on Tuesday, bringing the 7-day average down to 31,000. And that's leading to the lifting of more mandates, including here in California, where more kids are starting to take their masks off in school after the state left it up to individual districts whether to require them.
Before, I couldn't really breathe that much.
Yeah.
And it started to hurt my ears.
And in Colorado, the state is closing its vaccination centers in favor of a community-based approach, pointing out that the majority of Americans don't get their annual flu shots at government-run sites.
You go to your local pharmacy, you get it when you're at your doctor's office, and we really want to see COVID become more normal like that.
And another sign life is returning to normal, the CDC lowering its warning level for cruise ships, a big boost to an industry hit hard by 2 years of the pandemic. In Los Angeles, Matt Finn, Fox News.
Going to hear about some sinkholes deep in the ocean and what may be causing them.
Hi.
Now here's something you don't expect to hear is forming out in the middle of the ocean. Sinkholes. Scientists say they have discovered dozens of deep sinkholes rapidly forming in a remote part of the Arctic seafloor. Researchers found the sinkholes while they were mapping 10 square miles of the Beaufort Sea in Canada. Now these sinkholes are not small, by the way. Just one, for example, is 95 feet deep, 738 feet long, 312 feet wide. Those are huge. Researchers say a frozen layer of the Earth's surface is thawing while submerged underneath the seabed, causing the sinkholes. Interesting. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming your way.
An artist in McDonald County shares his story of overcoming obstacles in the hopes of inspiring others. I'm Kate Kelly with his story just ahead.
People all over the country doing their part to help Ukrainians in need. I'm Casey Stiegel in Texas. We'll show you how one healthcare system is helping.
A triple amputee artist in Anderson, Missouri is sharing his story of struggle and triumph in the hopes of inspiring others. KOM's Kate Kelly tells us how James Wanders came to be the man he is today.
James Wanders is a man who knows what it means to struggle. In fact, Struggle is the name of one of his award-winning paintings.
The struggle doesn't ever end. You know, my paintings are talking to me about my life, about our lives, you see. Yeah.
When he looks back over the years, Wanders feels compelled to share his story of being burned and rising through the ashes. It all began on Thanksgiving Day, back in 1971, when a then 13-year-old James was burning dead chickens on his parents' poultry farm in Neosho.
I poured this diesel fuel on a bunch of chickens inside of a 55-gallon barrel. And the can blew up in my hands as I was pouring it in there. And that's when the fire just poured down me, you know, like water, just whoosh. And I rolled, you know, like they tell you to, you know. But diesel fuel is an oil-based type fuel. It, you know, wasn't going out. And right out of football season, I took off running.
His stepfather managed to stop him and put out the flames, but the damage was done. 85% of Wanders' body was covered with third-degree burns. When he regained consciousness, one of his hands had already been amputated. A leg and his other hand would soon follow. The pain was excruciating.
They took the skin off the bottom of my feet and the top of my head every 14 days for 8 months. Skinned me, alive.
Despite his suffering and setbacks, Wanders remained determined to succeed. He was at the top of his welding class at Crowder College and continues to create art, paintings and sculptures with just as much character as him.
People have no comprehension of what I can do with metal hands. They always have seen me as handicapped until I get on a pool table with them and beat them real bad, and then they realize, wait a minute, this guy's got an advantage, not a disadvantage.
Wanders gives all the glory to God, thanking him for his beautiful wife and children, hoping his story will help someone else who may be going through adversity, encouraging them to seek a higher vantage point for perspective.
I don't want anybody to suffer at all, but I know suffering's what brought me around, to who I am now.
In Anderson, Kate Kelly, KOAM News.
After being diagnosed with cancer for the 15th time now, Wanders started yet another round of radiation on Monday. He hopes to continue painting, building, climbing, and doing all the other things he loves for as long as possible. If you'd like to support him by purchasing some of his artwork, you can check out the link we've shared on our website, koamnewsnow.com. Going to be seeing stencil designs throughout the Joplin community, including parks and walking trails, thanks to a donation to the Healthy Joplin organization. The $5,000 check is from the Active Lifestyle Events organization.
This organization represents exactly what we're trying to do in the community. We want people to be active, we want people to be fit, we want people to be healthy, and that's exactly what Healthy Joplin wants to. So our goals align very closely, and just the opportunity to work with them.
Active Lifestyle Events is an organization that puts together different activities in Joplin, things like the Joplin Memorial Run. Many college seniors are going to be graduating in a couple of months, and they're going to be looking for jobs, right? Missouri Southern today gave them a chance to get a head start on that by hosting a career fair. Dozens of area businesses took part. Organizers hope the fair is going to help students and alumni find jobs or internships to set them on a path to success.
Absolutely. I think what other chance are you going to get to meet 50 plus businesses in the Joplin area? And you make a lot of great connections being able to talk with people face to face rather than sending an email or making a phone call.
This fair in the Leggett and Platt Center is the first in-person career fair there since the start of this pandemic. Walmart is planning a hiring spree itself, plans to hire more than 50,000 workers here in the U.S. in the first quarter. New hires would fill roles at Walmart stores, clubs, campuses, and supply chain facilities. Walmart's starting wage is up to $30 an hour for select roles in certain markets. The announcement comes a day after the company said it would hire workers for new tech hubs in Toronto and Atlanta. I've seen it happening all across the U.S. Every day, people coming together to protest and find ways to help Ukraine. The United Nations estimates over 2.5 million Ukrainians have left the country entirely after Russia's invasion on February 24th. Fox News senior correspondent Casey Stiegel has more from Dallas on just how Americans are pitching in.
It has been 3 weeks since the Russian army invaded Ukraine, and as the war rages on, Americans are stepping up to help in more ways than one.
I've been told by doctors that there are people in Ukraine dying for the lack of a $4 tourniquet. We are able to provide those supplies.
Donations from all over the U.S. are being sent to Ukraine. Texas's largest not-for-profit healthcare system is teaming up with humanitarian relief groups to send medical supplies to the hospitals and clinics on the front lines. While in Connecticut, a group of moms joined forces to send emergency care packages filled with essentials for mothers and children in Ukraine.
Portable cribs are here, the diapers, the wipes.
The group will be shipping out more supplies this weekend. Just over the Connecticut state line, 2 Harvard teenagers decided to help by creating a website to connect Ukrainian refugees with people willing to host them in other countries. The website UkraineTakesShelter.com was created by a 19 and 18-year-old and launched within a week of the Kremlin's invasion.
We've got listings everywhere from Israel to Australia to the United States to Poland to Germany.
You name it. You can pretty much type in any city in the world and at least see listings.
Hosts can sign up by putting details like where they're located, how many people they can take in, and what languages they speak. So far, there are more than 9,000 listings on that site.
The duo said they learned how to build websites as young children by watching YouTube videos. They now join countless others who are simply trying to make a difference. That's the latest from Dallas. Casey Stiegel, Fox News.
And a bit later, the nation's most popular dogs.
If you own a dog, you probably think yours is the best, but how does it rank on the American Kennel Club's official list? I'm Marianne Rafferty with a look at the top breeds in the nation, coming up.
Drive, say.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a nice Wednesday today. We had plenty of sunshine, temperatures fantastic as we went into the mid-70s for highs. Look at this week. Look, so far this week into the weekend, we were in 70s, 60s, all the way back to Sunday, 66. Saturday, not so good. Friday, we had our 2 inches of snow. Don't even remember it. You know, I walked over here and I didn't even bring my clicker. I don't know how I'm supposed to go through maps if I don't have it. It's a very handy little remote control. All right, temps for us today. We went into the mid-70s. We dropped off a bit. It's not chilly by any means. Most of us 60 to about 63 across the region. Will drop back near 50 a little bit later on tonight. Southerly winds keeping those temperatures up just a little bit. Looks good. 7th and range line currently outside, sitting at 64. South winds 5 to 10. Humidity is at 43%. Nothing's going on here, but you can see the clouds increasing out across central Kansas, Oklahoma, western Kansas, back through the panhandles. Here's our next storm system building out across the central parts of the Rockies. It's kind of dipping out right into the four corners of the U.S., and that system will track on top of us as we go through the next 24 to 48 hours. All right, let's go through time. Area of low pressure develops western Oklahoma and heads right toward us. Look at the thunderstorms. Now, most severe weather is going to occur south and east of the area of low pressure. So most of our severe weather is going to stay to our south, but it doesn't mean we can't get a few strong guys in here as we go into tomorrow night. Let's go ahead and hour by hour, break this down. Partly cloudy skies for us tonight. As we work through the daytime hours tomorrow, partly sunny. It's going to be breezy, to say the least. Winds gusting 20, 25 at times, but warm. 72 by noon, high temp is 77. Tomorrow evening, 7, 8, 9 o'clock, scattered thunderstorms will develop. Shouldn't be very strong or severe. A little stronger batch rolls in about midnight, 1, 2 o'clock. This means a loud night. Again, not anticipating these to be severe. Could be a little bit on the strong side. We're going to have periods of showers and thunderstorms tomorrow night, and then just good old rain on Friday. We kind of hang out into the 40s, see a little bit of blue. There could be a flake or two of snow that tries to mix in. Most of this is going to be out of here by the time we head into Friday afternoon. Rainfall amounts, most of us a half an inch to about an inch of rain, so a pretty good dosing, which we need. We can use the rain in the spring months. We do rebound great for the weekend. Back into the 60s Saturday, back into the 70s by the time Sunday rolls around. Then our next storm system rolls in by Monday, also giving us showers and thunderstorms that could be on the strong side. 77 tomorrow, 40s Friday weekend. Fantastic, especially with the extended evening daylight hours. So
yeah,
looks pretty good.
I had my Reuben tonight. That was a little pre, Green Day festivities.
Oh, nice. Did you enjoy it?
It was very good. Thank you for asking.
Uh-huh.
All right, you didn't seem to care, but
I really don't.
Doug, thank you so much, man. Keeping it honest. All right, coming up in sports, going to hear from the Missouri Southern football team as they hit the field for their first week of spring practice, plus Webb City baseball just 2 days away from their season opener. Thoughts from the Cardinals. Yes, we can read thoughts now on their upcoming season after this break.
Chef Anthony.
Spring football practice is here for the Missouri Southern Lions. The Lions are in their first week of spring ball with their annual spring game scheduled for April 9th. Now, Southern has about 90 guys in spring camp this season. They'll have another 30 to 40 recruits join them when they begin fall practice later this year. The Lions are entering year 2 under head coach Atiba Bradley, and they're coming off their best season since 2014. So they got a little momentum for the first time in a while, and they're excited to start building for what they hope is another step forward this fall.
Seeing success in the fall, and seeing what we can do, it makes us all hungry. Like you can see the burning in everybody's eyes. Like we're ready to play in the fall, but we understand that we have to take the baby steps and get the spring right before we can go to the fall.
For us to be competitive, I think you saw a team that was like, oh wow, we can play. They were a little surprised, and last year we're moving forward, going, okay, we can compete, but now how do we get over the hump and get more wins?
Don't let our records give you the picture of what we are. It's a whole different team than what it is. We're just a couple of little pieces that we have to put together, and we're there.
Pitt State baseball is on the road tonight facing the Emporia State Hornets. The Gorillas are on a roll right now. They've won 7 straight games, and they're 8-1 to begin MIAA league play. Now, tonight's game against the Hornets is over. Gorillas win big 7-1. Jordan Maxson and Caleb Carr each hit 2-run homers. Trey McClellan also goes deep for PSU. Gorillas are now 14-7 overall this season. The Webb City Cardinals are just 2 days away from their first game of the season. Danny Terzer caught up with the Cardinals today as they head into their spring schedule with a big group of seniors and some depth on the pitching staff.
For a handful of these guys, this baseball season is the last time they will wear a Cardinal uniform.
It's a hard-working senior class, and it's been fun to watch them progress, and they're fun guys to be around, and we're expecting big things out of them this year.
The Cardinals have 8 seniors on their roster this year who are aiming to lead this team to a memorable finish.
We have everything we need to do what we want to do.
Yeah, we're really eager. We're really looking forward to May, and we want to be as good as we can be when we get to May.
This year's team is made up of competitors.
We graduated a good senior class, but we had a really good summer, and we played a lot of baseball, and we got some young guys that I think are really eager to improve themselves.
The Cardinals' pitching is also expected to be a strength this year.
This year we have a lot more guys in the bullpen. We have more depth. We'll be able to send more guys out, be more comfortable in the pitching game, and with hitting, we have a lot of consistent guys that are going to be able to get the job done. Nobody, overdoing their job, just everybody sticking to their role.
The first game of the seniors' final season is this Friday.
They're excited to get their senior season going and leave their mark like every senior class does.
This is my whole goal with this being my last year. I just wanted to leave a mark, letting people know, like, when you come, just work hard. Because, like last year, you never know when your last game is.
In Webb City, Danny Terzer, KOAM Sports.
Webb City is scheduled to begin the season on Friday at 5 at home against Verdigris. Well, 5 local high school basketball players have been named finalists for the Sports in Kansas Player of the Year in their respective classes. On the boys' side, there are 3 local guys. Easton Ewing, that dude throwing it down there, is a finalist for Player of the Year in Class 4A for Independence. Galena's Brett Sarwinski is a finalist in Class 3A after posting 18 points and 4 rebounds per game and breaking the school's all-time scoring record. Also in 3A, Gerard's Bram Bourne. He was great all season, averaging 17 and 4 per night, while also collecting 3 steals per game. As for the girls, 5 local players are finalists for Player of the Year. In Class 4A, Madison Brandon from Labette County, Frontenac's Heather Arnett, and Galena's Mia Sarwinski are finalists in Class 3A. And in Class 2A, Colgan's Lily Brown and Danielle Howard from Uniontown. The winners will be announced on the weekend of the 25th. And that's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
They come in all shapes and sizes. At the end of the day, they can't help but steal our hearts. While many dogs may be man's best friends, data from the American Kennel Club shows which breeds are more popular than the rest. Fox News correspondent Marianne Rafferty has a look at which adorable pooches reign supreme.
Waiting can sure be rough, but the data is finally in. The American Kennel Club releasing its list of the top dog breeds in the nation. And rounding out the top 5 is a surprise for club officials.
We have the Poodle at number 5, which is the first time since 1997. That includes all varieties of the Poodle, standard, toy, and miniature.
And owners simply can't get enough of them.
They're very intelligent, energetic, but they can also sleep on the couch all day long. They have hair, not fur, so they don't shed at all.
German Shepherds come in at number 4, with canine experts calling them intelligent, hardworking, and lovable.
Our loyal breed, which we absolutely adore.
Golden Retrievers with their long, luscious coats are in third place on the AKC list. Meanwhile, New York City's most popular pooch, the French Bulldog, takes the number 2 spot nationally.
Don't expect them to go hiking with you or swimming, but if you want a dog that you can chill with and have a good time with, they're great.
And coming in at number 1 for the 31st year in a row is the Labrador Retriever.
They are the perfect size house dog for kids, active families, seniors, stuff like that. Very food motivated, easy to train.
The American Kennel Club uses a dog owner's registration data to rank every breed, but with 197 recognized varieties, there are some that don't get as much attention as others, with the Norwegian Lundehound coming in last place. Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
Gonna talk to that dude known for Dexter about his new professional musician gig. Dexter fans may have heard a familiar voice featured in the soundtrack of the revival series, star Michael C. Hall. He's also the frontman of the band Princess Goes to the Butterfly Museum. We caught up with them as they work on new music and follow up on a sold-out European tour with their first U.S. run this spring. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
Michael C. Hall, Peter Yanowitz, and Matt Katz-Bowen, aka Princess Goes to the Butterfly Museum, kick off their U.S. tour March 20th.
It's always a thrill to play our music live, but yeah, since things started to kind of get back to whatever the new normal is, there's an added sense of gratitude and celebration every time we play.
The band is also working on an EP of remixes, following up their Thanks for Coming album, and invited people to collaborate on a green screen video for Sideways. These three met in Broadway's Hedwig and the Angry Inch, and a love for theater and storytelling makes its way into their music.
Yeah, we do see the similarities in both, and we also tend to migrate towards bands that have a little bit more theatricality as well. Matt and I have been in bands for so many years, so we have that side as well.
Then the band's name was Matt's daughter's idea.
She said, yes, you may have it. And then she's very proud. So thank you, Anna Elena, for giving us the name.
And recently, even more fans got to know them thanks to a killer soundtrack moment in Dexter: New Blood.
I wanted to know if people recognized it right away. Did you hear that, and how big was that for you guys?
I think some people heard the voice and suspected that maybe it was me singing, and then maybe some people were familiar with the band, probably a small cross-section of the people who heard it, but it definitely was a level of exposure that was pretty broad.
Chatting up the girls. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with video of Joplin Police Officer Rick Hershey leaving Freeman Hospital today. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.